Now openly admitting to counting disqualified ballots in the Pennsylvania Senate race. It is open defiance of the state's Supreme Court, which instructed them not to do this on November 1st. And Democrat Bob Casey refuses to concede the election to Dave McCormick as the $1 million recount gets underway this week. Alexis McAdams has the latest.
Hey, Kaylee. Well, people at home are wondering what is going on in Pennsylvania because people thought this race wrapped up days ago, but hey, not everyone thinks the Senate race is over in Pennsylvania, and that includes Democrats on some election boards who admit they're breaking the rules to overturn the results. But Democrats say throwing out those votes because of clerical orders just violates Second Amendment rights. That's why they're doing it. They say, watch.
It is a pretty stupid thing to not count someone's vote simply because they didn't, date an envelope for a ballot when we know specifically for that person when it was printed. We have a pretty good approximate date of when it was mailed to them.
You can't just change things according to the Supreme Court, but it comes days after the race was called for Republican Senator-elect Dave McCormick after he beat out incumbent Democratic Senator Bob Casey. But Casey will still not concede days later. So now this week, the race is heading for a recount, and it's going to be expensive, you guys. It's going to cost taxpayers $1 million. Some blue counties say they're now counting ballots that do not have those required signatures or those dates, which is against the law. And that's according to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, which ruled that weeks ago. Now the RNC and McCormick's teams are suing at least 4 Pennsylvania counties. So as that goes on, we're also seeing that Senate Majority Leader-elect John Thune of South Dakota is calling on Casey to concede, as Democrat Senator John Fetterman says he thinks his counterpart is going to do the right thing. But the question is, when is that going to happen? McCormick's team says it's business as usual for them, so he's going forward with orientation in D.C. and making new hires, says he's looking forward to his Senate seats. We'll see what happens, Kaylee.
We will continue to watch the open defiance. Thank you, Alexis. I cannot get over this story. And John, this is not a good look for your home state. These are Democrats. I want to make this clear. Democrat election officials in 4 counties say, we do not care what the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania says. They said it November 1st, do not count ballots missing a date or with an inaccurate date. They literally say openly, we do not care. So they're not only defying a court, but a court that is 5-2 Democrat to Republican.
Going on the first segment, we should get some Philadelphia Eagles down there and make them count votes. They'll get it right way better than these county commissioners. But look, this is illegal. It is illegal under Pennsylvania law. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has said you should count only ballots that are signed and in the right envelope. But more importantly, it's a violation of the federal Constitution. This goes back to Bush versus Gore in 2000. One county can't use a standard to count votes that other counties aren't using. That's actually, if you think about it, every time they count one of these illegal votes, they're depriving a legitimate voter of their vote. So this is actually something for Donald Trump's Justice Department to get in on. They can actually investigate and prosecute these people for depriving people of their voting rights in Pennsylvania, my home state. I do not know why some minor county official in Pennsylvania thinks it's their right to violate the voting rights of everyone else in the state.
So that's fascinating that you see a role for the federal government, that you see a role for DOJ. Emily, I want to underscore how brazen this is. I cannot imagine actively defying the law and saying it out loud, but let's bring in the Bucks County, Pennsylvania commissioner. Here's what she had to say. I think we all know that precedent by a court does not matter anymore in this country. Say what? People violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention. There's nothing more important than counting votes. What about abiding by your state Supreme Court?
Totally. I mean, I thought we solved this issue, right, a couple hundred years ago with a certain Supreme Court case. This was, I agree with you, the audacity is so mind-boggling, and also the lack of intellectual grasp on what the underlying issue is, which you are exactly right. If they care about election and vote integrity, then they would see the colossal illegal act that they are actually doing. So for the Bucks County council member there, as we said earlier, or as we saw earlier,